Greg Tepper, Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com here in Grapevine at the DFW coaching clinic. Here, the man who took a long trip told me he's tired of driving, head coach of Lubbock Estacado, Coach William Blaylock. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, man. Like I said, tired of driving, but happy to be here. It's the first time I've been able to come to a DFW clinic, so I'm excited for it.
Well, let's talk about your first year there with Estacado. You know, playoff berth, 7-5 year, an opportunity to play, deep into November. And now that a little bit of time has passed, how do you assess what you guys were able to do in year one?
Thought the kids bought in, really quickly. Hats off to our senior class. They were small, but they led us, a team that was picked third in the district, picked to win 3 games, and we won 7. So our young guys got that taste of winning, and now they're anxious for it. They're competing in basketball right now. They're ready to run track, so I think the future's pretty good.
See, what veteran coaches do is that they just slide in. They're like, yeah, pick to finish third in district. I don't know what kind of dummies picked them third in district. Who's to say? Okay, so you mentioned kind of the senior class, and I'm interested whenever you show up there and say, hey, you know what? I'm the new guy in charge. What your message to those guys that got them to buy in and say, let's hop on board with this?
It was more about leading by example. And, I was their third head coach in 4 years. So they've seen it all. They've seen all the change. They've seen multiple offenses and defenses. So they've heard the speech of this is what we're going to do. It was more about showing them and letting them understand, hey, we care about you. We know we just got here. This is what you can do. And then once they, put it out there and put it on the field, and they were like, we think we're a lot better than what people think we are. And I just kind of put that chip on their shoulder, and they rolled with it, as far as we could go.
You mentioned, it was a relatively small senior class. You guys are pretty young, relying on a lot of youngsters. Were you surprised at how quickly the youngsters adapted to it and stepped in? And because you guys were filling some pretty key roles with, babies, basically.
Yeah, our first game, we had 5 kids that had ever taken a varsity snap. And if you
5?
5 kids. The previous senior class was 31. So those young kids were athletic, they were hungry, but if you watch the first 4 minutes of the first game of the year, I wanted to retire and go sell insurance somewhere. But they figured out that they could play with anybody, and they went toe-to-toe with good teams, and they started learning from their mistakes. So by the time we got to week 7, week 8, and they realized, they won an overtime game. They won a game on the last play of the game. They fought. They won a playoff victory on the road, dealing with adversity. And so now those younger guys or the older guys now, they're like, dude, we want to go play the Christmas. That's their whole mission now, is to be the first team in Lubbock to go to state since 1983. So that's all they talk about.
Did you mentioned playing deep and all those types of things. Did you get a sense as the season went on that there was that growth from those young guys, that they were figuring things out? You mentioned how rough the first game was. Did you get that feeling that there was that growth as the season wore on?
Oh, definitely. We went through a whole semester. Now, one football player had an office referral. Nobody got suspended. There was no fighting, and we started becoming the group that was policing the building and policing each other, to where if somebody got out of line before a coach could get there, a captain was there or a teammate was there. And as coaches, we started smiling because we're like, okay, they're figuring this thing out, and all of those guys who were doing that are coming back. We only lost one guy that was a real key leader in that aspect, but the rest of those guys were all young, and they're like, we're not doing it anymore. We're not going to be who people think we are. We're going to show up, and we're going to play hard, and we want to win, and this is how we have to do it. They learned a different lesson every time we lost, and they never made the same mistakes twice. So I think going forward, those young guys that are old now, I think we got a chance to be good for a long time.
And in a non-realignment year, you guys get the same district coming back again. Do you feel like now that you guys have gone toe-to-toe with these guys for 1 year, this is going to give you guys maybe a little bit better about what you're going up against with a more veteran team?
I think we'll be a lot better. But, Brownwood's the king of the hill until somebody knocks them off. And they were solid on the sub-varsity levels too. We had dog fights with Andrews and Big Spring. And we got to go to their place this year. So they're going to be itching for us to come down there. They haven't forgotten. I'm sure it's on their board for off season that they came, we snuck one out on them. So our kids know the bullseye's on you now. You're not going to sneak on anybody. Everybody knows about the east side. Now you got to show up and play, and there's no surprises. So that's what we're working towards, is perfecting who we are and taking it day by day. We're not looking at anybody right now other than us. We're not worried about a scrimmage, a game. It's about the weight room, the track, and the classroom.
It might not be picked third. Finally, Coach, there's a rumor going around that the Dave Campbell's Texas football crew may be trying to make a staff trip out to the 806. We are always looking for eats recommendations. So we're coming. Let's say we're going to the east side. Where we got to go?
Got to go to Palaberto's, get your breakfast burrito. I recommend the steak and eggs breakfast plate. It may put you to sleep, but it's phenomenal. Then you got to go a little healthy for lunch because you got to be able to stay awake. You go to Vitality Bowl by Texas Tech. Take care of it. That's where I go when I'm trying to, get my fruit and vitamins. And then there's Josie's Mexican place. That's phenomenal, and they're 24 hours. So I love a burrito taco. Love those things. And so you got my giant cheese place. I can't think of the name. It's right by Texas Tech. But they got the biggest cheese sticks you've ever seen in your life.
Hey, Step, what's the Lubbock cheese stick place? The cheese sticks in Lubbock.
Spanky's. Yeah, you got to go by Spanky's.
This is a good interview.
Yeah. Got to go there. You got to go to Twisted Root, get your burger on. I try to hit the whole city. I try to, when it comes to food. But those are all great places in Lubbock.
Blaylock, appreciate it, man.
Thank you.